Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel for another lesson. Today we're going to be answering the question, if you could only launch one Amazon FBA product, what should it be? What would that market look like? What would that product look like? That sounds like something you're interested in watching. Be sure to stick around to the end. Without further ado, let's just get right into it. All right, welcome into my computer. We are going to try to find something that represents what we're discussing today. But either way, be sure to stick around because you're going to be getting the information about what that market would look like, no matter if we find it or not. So I've set up some basic criteria here. This really isn't a product research video, it's more of a market analysis video. So we're just gonna roll with this. Feel free to pause it and check this out, but we're just gonna look through here. And I'm gonna be talking while I'm looking through here, about 170 ideas to look through. So I'm sure we can definitely get into it a little bit. So the kind of product that I would say you should launch if you can only afford to do one has a couple of characteristics that I would keep in mind. It should be something that you're able to keep in stock even after the first order. So not just being able to afford one round of inventory, but probably another round without getting paid. Does that make sense? It's one of the first characteristics that I look for. It's going to come down mostly to the price of the product and how many you're going to have to order. What's the average competitor doing? How many do you have to keep in stock to keep up with that kind of level of demand? So I generally wouldn't say try and rank something that gets thousands of sales if you can't even afford that. There might be nothing worse than having a product that wins, but you can never keep it in stock. That tease of having something that actually could work had you had the capital to back it up, but it can't because every time you come in stock, your stock doesn't last long enough, is unfortunate. You're costing yourself a lot in opportunity cost, which means that the money you could be making while you're out of stock is, sometimes hard to think about. It's a lot of money that you're potentially losing every single, time you got a stock. So that's the first thing that I'm looking for. We're looking at this product here, and actually I don't hate what I'm looking at. It's kind of almost like a commodity product. It's just cardboard for the most part. But there are some things that I think I like about this. First of all, this company here is doing 40,000 with 85 reviews. That's really cool to see. There's also some other lower reviews here. That's actually the same brand. Whenever I see this, by the way, just a quick tip. If you see one brand doing really well consistently, probably means they have outside traffic and they might have a brand outside of Amazon that they can rely on to get sales. So don't just think that because a certain style sells well, that's the only reason and the only piece of criteria you have to look at. I would also be looking at, I would take this company and I would go search, see if they have a website, see if they're wholesaling, things like that. Let's go back and let's just look a little bit. But in the meantime, I'll move on to the second characteristic of a new market. I want it to be a market where you can stand out entirely. So I don't want you to have to fight hundreds of competitors that already have ranked successfully. That is a method, and that's a method that I start thinking about more and more as I progress in selling on Amazon. I think everyone starts off with really uncompetitive things for the most part, and then they slowly get that fever to try more competitive, more high-end, not high-end in the terms of price, but high-end in the terms of sales, products, markets, right? So I would say in the beginning, completely do the opposite of that. Go the other direction where it's like there's more customers with more problems and more concerns than there are sellers addressing those problems, addressing those concerns, or addressing just providing the product that they're looking for. So in this case, like candle holder, again, I don't necessarily think this would be one of the first things I do. This might be something I do now, where I have experience selling on Amazon. I know how to rank things. I know what to look for in a product and what the target demographic is looking for when they're searching through Amazon, what causes them to buy and what doesn't. As a new seller, you might attach the wrong pieces of information to why certain things are selling well, and you might sell something that doesn't actually need another seller. So this is a question I brought up in one of my previous videos. It was, does this market need another option? As a new seller, you should always be entering markets where, especially if you can only afford to do one product, the customer legitimately needs another option. Like there's a burning hole in this market and it can't be overlooked. And a lot of the times, those aren't screaming at you. You have to be the detective that finds them. If something's easy, it's probably already done well. So think about that for a second. If you're having a hard time, you're getting closer and closer to uncovering the right thing. Now, there's a certain level of having a hard time where it's just like if you're messing up on fundamental things, you're probably just super new to this and you have to work out your flaws and get good at something. But keep in mind that barriers to entry don't create problems for you necessarily. If you're the persistent one and the one who's actually willing to go there, they create problems for the person who has no persistence and wants everything to be easy. So I'll leave you with that. That's going to do it for today's video. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed those 2 pieces of criteria that I attached to markets that I would enter if I could only sell one product. Be sure to like and subscribe down below. That being said, I'll see you next time for another video. Thanks so much. Later.